Hey, welcome back to the Unlockable Podcast. Hannah and I decided to make this episode about our collections and what types of collectors we are. While we definitely do have our differences, I was surprised to hear some of the things Hannah and I actually agreed on in this episode. But hey, if you could, give this podcast a thumbs up or a 5 stars wherever you're listening to it. It would help us out immensely. Seriously, thank you guys for sticking around for the first 15 episodes. Whether you're new or an OG, we appreciate you. Alright, enough sappy stuff. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the Unlockable Podcast. I'm your host, Christian, and joining me as always is Hannah.
Hello.
Welcome to episode 15. Hannah, how are you?
Pretty good. My college semester just ended, so I have a lot of free time to play games now.
Woo! So let me ask you, Hannah, what games have you been playing lately?
Well, I played Dragon Quest Builders 2. I don't know if I said I beat it the last podcast, but yes, I did. I beat it, and now I'm basically just messing around and building whatever I want.
I really thought you were going to tell me you hadn't been playing anything.
No, I told you I've been playing something. Actually, what I'm doing in the game now is, since it's free and I can do whatever I want, I'm clearing out the inside of a mountain so I can have like a journey to the center of the earth kind of deal where there's like pretty trees and there's a pretty sunset. That's what I'm doing now.
Great
It's
movie.
taking me a lot of time.
What the heck, dude? That sounds like an amazing game.
It is fun.
What am I freaking wasting my time on? I've been playing Kingdom Hearts, but I could be clearing out a mountain.
A mountain. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I'm about to beat Kingdom Hearts actually tonight, hopefully, after this podcast.
How many hours?
Only 13 so far, and I feel like a couple of those hours have included like pause breaks, you know? Like I go leave and come back and the game's been on pause.
13 hours?
Yeah, I feel like that's pretty short for an RPG.
I thought that's really short. Yeah.
So I looked it up. Maybe I'm not as close to the end as I thought. I guess I'll have to let you guys know next week, next month, next podcast. My friend just got an Xbox, and we are playing through the Halo games. So we just beat Halo 1, which I've already beaten all these games, but I just felt like going back and playing them with him. And the other game I beat was Uncharted, the very first one.
Wow, on PS4?
Yeah, it's remastered on PS4. It's eh. I've heard the other games are way better. The first one was just eh.
Really?
Yep.
Man.
Have you been purchasing any games lately?
Actually, not really, but I did buy Trials of Mana at your suggestion yesterday. It was $20 on Amazon, and I believe it's $20 on Best Buy. But yeah, I bought it from Amazon. I haven't played Secret of Mana, but I did play Final Fantasy Adventures, and that was fun, so I figured I'd like it. And it was $20. I don't think it'll be any cheaper, so yeah, I bought it.
I'm excited.
I'm also excited.
I mean, are you going to play Secret of Mana first?
Okay, I'm pretty sure I asked you this before, but is there a timeline?
Whatever the internet says. There's like this one guy on Yahoo Answers that has a timeline.
Okay, I'll look it up on Yahoo Answers. Thank you.
So you would rather play it in that order, the timeline order?
Yeah. I mean, if I can, yeah.
I feel you. That's cool. So that's it. That's all you bought.
That's all I bought. I don't know. Pretty sad.
I got not a lot of Game Boy Advance games for the first time in my life.
Oh my god, really?
I actually didn't write any down, so I don't even remember if I bought any. But I got Spider-Man Return of the Sinister Six on Game Gear. Super cool because...
Game Gear?
I know, right? I try to buy Game Gear games complete in box whenever I get the chance, and they just don't pop up too often, so... I used my eBay bucks on this one. Got it for a good price. It's in terrible condition. Absolutely garbage condition, but I just wanted to have it. It was a good price. And I got a bunch of GameCube games since the last episode. I wrote down a bunch. Let me just fly through them here. We got NBA Street V3, which is actually like $35. Kind of surprising. I got Custom Robo.
Jeez.
X-Men Legends 2. Completed my little X-Men subset on GameCube. I got Rampage, Frogger Ancient Shadow, Backyard Baseball 2007, Batman Rise of Sinsu, The Big Box, WarioWare, and more that I didn't write down. But yeah, definitely trying to put some more progress towards that GameCube set this year.
Jeez, what number are you at now?
Like 230. I don't know the exact number right now.
Dang.
Long way to go, though. Not even halfway there.
That's gotta hurt.
All right, I'm excited. This is gonna be a good episode right here. I always like the more collector-based episodes that we do, and this is Wait a minute. Wait a freaking minute. We gotta cover the news, Hannah.
Yeah, man, you skipped my news
Hannah,
section.
you forgot about the news.
I did not forget about the news. You forgot about the news. Who brings the news? Me. I do. Okay, you ready for some news? Okay, so first thing we have is Nintendo just had their indie showcase the other day. Actually, there was a lot of games announced, or at least given updates on. I don't know if they're all announced. Anyway, first off is Aztec Forgotten Gods, which is, it looked kind of like I guess it was a 3D action game, but it like mixes Aztec technology and like mythology with like modern day technology. I don't know, it looked pretty cool. That was probably my favorite one that was mentioned. Then Oxenfree 2 Lost Signals, don't know anything about that. And then Getsu Fumiden Undying Moon, which is a 2D roguelike that looks heavily inspired by traditional Japanese culture and martial arts. Then there's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Shredder's Revenge.
Very
which
cool.
I liked the art style on it a lot, but I mean, I'm not really a fan of turtle games, so we'll see. Chris Tales, which I honest to God thought was already out, but it's not. Skull the Hero Slayer. Road 69, which is another one that looks really interesting. It's like you're on a road trip, and it's one of those games where you pick where you get to go, and your interactions with people like changes the course of the game. So like it's basically just a create your own path kind of deal. Then there's Ollie Ollie World, which is a cool looking 2D skateboarding game. Sorry. Then there is no game, Wrong Dimension, which is not a game, but it is a game. Just kind of a, mind bending there, but that looks pretty cool. House of the Dead, the House of the Dead remake.
Yes.
I know nothing about that. Besides zombies. What is it?
If you've ever been to an arcade, I'm sure you've played House of the Dead. That's all. It's
I'm sure I haven't.
What? Like, it's just a light gun game. Like, nobody remembers what light guns game they played. They just play light gun games. They're like, oh, that's fun. I like shooting things.
Oh, if it's got zombies, I'm not interested.
Oh my goodness.
I know. And then next is Aerial Knights Never Yield. Last Stop, Hindsight, Weaving Tides, Beasts of Maravilla Island, Everlily's Quietus of the Nights, Kiwi, Fez, and Labyrinth City. It's a lot.
Kiwi?
Honestly,
was that the name of the whole game?
Yeah, Kiwi, like key, like like K-E-Y, like K-E-Y, and then we, like W-E, Kiwi.
I just have to say that was much more of a struggle than it should have been.
You make me so self-conscious when I read these. Oh, I'm not even done. There's more. So there's Art of Rally, and then there's The Longing, which, okay, I lied. This is probably the most interesting one. So you play as like a servant, and like who's waiting for his master to awaken, but in order for your master to awaken, like the game has to be on for 400 days. Like you're waiting 400 days in real time for your master to awaken. So I guess basically you just explore underground and like kill time until 400 days. 400 days, dude, that's over a year.
I don't think I've put 400 games into all of my games combined. Like, what the heck?
Isn't that crazy? I don't know if anyone's ever going to beat that game.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that one it's certainly a ballsy choice. Why 400 though? Could have been 100, you know? Anyway, the next thing on the news is Pac-Man 99. How exciting.
I am slacking on that.
I played it I've played it for a few hours. It gets really intense. Because there's some people that are really good at Pac-Man. That'll make the game last for like 20 minutes.
Dang.
I'm not very good at it, though. I don't know if I just prefer regular Pac-Man. Maybe I'm just not, I don't have the strategy quite down yet. Because I have not gotten a player one yet. And I die within like the first 50 people. It's kind of embarrassing. I thought I was good at Pac-Man.
Is Mario 35 gone?
Yep, gone. All gone.
Pac-Man 99 was such a surprise. I mean, I didn't see it coming.
Yeah, neither did I. Is it like a Pac-Man anniversary, or is it just Tetris 99 did well, so they're like, yeah, Pac-Man 99?
I don't know if it's an anniversary, but regardless of if it's an anniversary, I think the second option there is definitely the key.
Yeah, you're probably right. All right, next I have... just in case there's like the few people out there that actually care, I have an update on Bug Fables, which is the game that I was super excited about. It's like a spiritual successor to the good, in quotations, good Paper Mario games. So Limited Run Games announced this like what feels like forever ago, and they finally just released more details about it, about the physical edition at least. It's going to have a 4-week pre-order that starts on this Friday, so Friday, April 23rd, and this part I'm not so happy about, so I probably won't be getting it. But the collector's edition is going to retail for $90.
What do they usually go for, the collector's editions?
My collector's edition of Ys Origin was only $70. But I guess this one comes with a bunch of stuff. It comes with collector's cards, papercraft diorama of the little bug creatures, some pins, a plush, a soundtrack, and of course the game, and a really cool box. And then they don't have any details on the website yet. This is all just from a tweet, so I don't know what like the standard edition of the game is going to be.
Okay.
I assume 30 to 40 range, hopefully not $50. And I don't know if it's coming to Best Buy yet, because they don't have any details on the website, and usually when you find that out, or how you find that out, is it says it like under the listing. It's like limited quantities are going to Best Buy, but they can cancel at any time and it's not final, blah, 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 blah. And it's not going to release until like 10 years after ours because we don't want to cannibalize on our sales. Something like that. So I don't know yet.
So you never ended up playing that one? You waited for the physical?
I waited for the physical.
You're such a pro at that.
I know. It's called being really, really patient. And next is Mario Kart 8 is the best-selling racing game of all time. If you add the deluxe version of the game and the Wii U version of the game.
That makes sense.
So it's about 42 million copies sold.
Neat. Very neat.
I know. I made a post about this, about a joke. It's like, can people stop buying it so we can get a 9 already? Of course I'm kidding, but it would be nice to get a 9, considering I own both versions of it. Because I'm that sucker.
Yes, you are.
All right, and then next, Nintendo announced a new color of the Switch Lite. It's somewhere between, well, it's called blue, but it's somewhere between like a blue and a purple, right? Like you've seen it.
Yeah, because the GameCube is called like indigo, so you know.
Yeah,
it looks
but
like the GameCube.
It certainly does not. The color is not right. The GameCube is purple, and no one can change my mind. The thing that the Switch Lite color they released, that's indigo. Like, that's a true indigo. So someone's colorblind up there in Nintendo. But that's fine. Whatever. And then, yeah, that's all I got for the news, man.
Wait, did we talk about that boy Reggie that stepped down from GameStop? Did we do that last time?
I think we talked about that last time, yeah.
Dang.
Has he officially stepped down yet?
Oh, I thought it was official last month. I don't know what's going on.
No, I thought he was, like, the date hadn't passed yet. Like, he's going to leave on this date.
Not sure. I just wanted to announce that today we got news about PlayStation bringing back they retracted their statement on the PS3 and PS Vita stores being gone away with.
Taken down?
So, thank you. They aren't doing that anymore. So, we know a lot of people out there spent a lot of freaking money.
Oh my gosh.
On both physical PS3 games and digital PS3 games.
Hundreds of dollars.
Tell me this wasn't a marketing scheme, a tactic. I have no idea.
Man, that's some slimy business, though. That really sucks.
Hey, the PS3 sales are way down. What should we do? Let's create the ultimate FOMO.
Oh, let's shut down the store so all these games are going to be lost forever. Oh my gosh, dude, so many people on Instagram posted like, yeah, this is the best deal to get it from this store, or like, no, you should get it from the UK store because it's cheaper. Oh my god, dude, I'd be so angry.
There's like this 3D dot heroes that is skyrocketed in price. There's this collection of digital PS3 games on a disc, and that one was going for over $100, and I know those people are salty.
I saw that too. I seriously considered buying it. Not that I'm like a big PS3 collector, but you know, I got that sickness in me that's like, ooh, you need this? So glad I didn't buy it. If it were like $50, maybe I would have done it, but I looked at it and I was like, $100? Nah. So glad I didn't.
Well, we are definitely going to get into that sickness of collecting, or whatever you want to call it. It's not a hobby. It's definitely a sickness.
It's certainly a sickness.
So I'm going to let you lead this episode, Hannah. Why don't you tell us what we're talking about here?
All right. So we have a lot of videos and podcasts and stuff about like the gamers that we are, like the games that we play. And I thought, well, wouldn't it be nice if we had a podcast about what kind of collectors we are? Because I think that's equally as important to our identities as being a gamer is. I argue that maybe I'm more of a collector than a gamer, but we'll see. So yeah, I thought it'd be interesting to talk about, you know, gamer questions, or have us answer questions that we get asked a lot or that any collector gets asked.
I didn't even think twice about it when you proposed this idea to me. I really like the idea. I really like I said, I really like the collector episodes, and this is it's gonna be a lot of fun. And at the end, we do have people who asked us questions on social media.
Yes. So if you ever want to be featured in one of these, ask or answer a question on my story.
Ask or answer.
Ask, yeah, I guess. Yeah, ask or answer. Or DM me, you know, whatever.
Cool. Let's do it, Hannah.
So I guess first, because we haven't really talked about it that much, I wanted to do a run through of what our collection looks like right now. Because I've never really, I mean, unless you follow me on Instagram, we haven't really talked about it that much on here. But I wanted you to give a rundown, how, what's on your shelves, or when you walk into the room, what do you see? You can go first.
Okay. First thing you see in my game room is just walls and walls of games. And they're all vertical. I love me some organization. But aside from the games, I've got an entertainment center with every console plugged in. Every console non-duplicates, right? I don't have 3 N64s plugged in.
Right.
I've got the HD TV. I've got the CRT TV. And I have one shelf for non-games, right? So I've got the occasional Star Fox plush. I've got just a bunch of little knickknacks and stuff. Most, I'm going to say 80% of the room is games, and then 10% is the consoles, and 10% is the other.
The other category. Gotcha.
But yeah, what about you? What does your game room look like?
Okay, well, I'm not fancy, and I don't have an actual dedicated game room. My game room is also my bedroom, so I have to share a lot of space with that. But as soon as you walk into my room, you see, I guess, a TV mounted on the wall, because I'm fancy. And then under that, I have all of my consoles. So obviously not the duplicates, because I have a lot of stuff at home. Oh, by the way, I live in an apartment. I don't know if I made that clear. So half of my collection, all the Sega and the PlayStation stuff, that's all left at my parents' house. And then I basically just brought all of my Nintendo stuff, because that's really all that I care about now. Anyway, so when you walk in, there's a TV mounted, and under that, there's all the consoles. One of each, obviously, Nintendo 64. Actually, I don't have my NES or my Super Nintendo with me. I just have my the minis of both of those. Even though I have the games, doesn't make a lot of sense, but I live in a small apartment. Then I have GameCubes all lined up. I actually have 3 GameCubes. I have the indigo one, or the purple one. I have a Zelda one that was custom made, and then I have an orange one that was custom made, all lined up. That's pretty much all that's on that shelf. There's a few books, like the Zelda collector's books, and then there's like the Dark Horse figures on top. That's also where I keep my Switch and my Wii and all that. And then to the left of that, I have my big shelf with all my games. So it's got my Switch on top. Actually, that's not true. It's got like my Switch collector's editions and all my big boxes on top. Then it's got my Switch games, my Wii games, my GameCube games, all those. And then to the left of that, I have, I guess you call it like a knick-knack wall, I don't know, or like a box wall. It's all these different like varying shelves. I have like my Joy-Con boxes, I have figures up there, I have just little knickknacks that people have given me or like I've collected over the years. And then on top of the TV, actually, no, hold on. On top of those shelves, the console shelves and the game shelves, I have my Amiibo shelves, which is something I'm probably the most proud of.
You should be.
Those are custom made shelves that me and my dad made. Actually, all my shelves are custom made. But they look really nice. All my Amiibo are open, lined up against the walls. And then I have, on top of that, some posters. And then above the TV, I have another shelf with like my big boxes, like my Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition box, my Xenoblade Chronicles 2 box, my Fire Emblem 3 Houses big box, just stuff like that. And then, oh yeah, I also have a controller pegboard. So it's like a pegboard. It's got little pegs in it, and then you can hang controllers up. And that's to the right. So yeah, it's a lot. When you walk in, people are like, oh my god, sickness. But yeah, that's how I have it organized right now. I think it looks pretty good.
I think you should give me a game room tour after this, because I don't think I've ever seen it.
We've seen it on Instagram. Actually, it's very hard to capture all of it in one post.
Yeah.
Because the square format. And mine's kind of like, it's laid against a whole wall and then also on the two sides. So yeah.
Pegboard was a good idea. I hate my controller setup.
Are you just one of those people that shoves it in a box?
That's 3 bins full. I hate it.
3 bins. Nice. No, I actually went with the pegboard because I have all of my Nintendo 64 controllers. I have all the different, well, I don't have all the different colors, but all the colors that I have laid out. Then I have my Wii controllers hung up and my GameCube controllers, and that's it.
Very
but yes,
cool.
I like it. I like it very much. Okay. So now onto the main topic, like I was talking about before. I split it up into 2 sections. We have questions about like our personal collections, like the physical stuff that we have, and then we have like not metaphorical, but like I guess metaphorical questions that you would ask a collector. So first, questions about our personal collections. So I know we just kind of talked about it a little bit, but how do you organize the games on your shelves? Is it like by system, alphabetically, chronological if you're a psychopath, or what?
Definitely emphasize psychopathic on the chronological thing. Who the heck would do that? I have by system and alphabetized, right? So like I'm not going to alphabetize my entire collection, but I have seen that before. It's disturbing. But yeah, you know, you got your GameCube games lined up, and then you got the Wii, and then you got the Wii U. Something I've started doing like in the last 2 years is I'll separate the player's choice games. So like it's not just like, oh, these are trash because they're the second print. It's more like, you know, all the black lined up looks really clean and all the yellow afterwards. And I'll do the same thing for Xbox and PS2. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
So you're not like lining up like all your A GameCube games next to all your A Wii games. That's all. Okay. That's crazy. I mean, people actually do that? You've seen people do that?
Saw it one time on Reddit, and then, I don't know, man. It was weird.
On the things that infuriate me subreddit?
Yeah.
That's funny. Okay, I'm very similar. I have all of my systems in, like, descending order. So, like, my Switch games are at the top, right? Then my Wii U, then my Wii, then my GameCube. Then I have my 3DS and my Nintendo DS games, and then also like the custom cases that I have for my what are they called? Game Boy Advance and Game Boy games and stuff. Yeah. So I have like newest at the top and then going down from there. And then I alphabetized my shelf once in my life. And I was like, this is going to be great. I'm going to go through and alphabetize everything. And I did. It took me a while. And then I take pictures every day. So like things are constantly moving and changing around. And I was like, no, it's not worth it. So no, they're not alphabetized. I'm one of those psychopaths who just looks through to find a game like 10 times because I can't find it.
At least they're not chronologically ordered.
No, they're not chronological. No. All right. Next question is best score ever.
I don't know if I've ever talked about it on the podcast. I have like 3 like major best scores ever, but the one that stands out the most is definitely the one time I got an offer up. You know what's weird is I've seen myself score the most when I'm supposed to be studying, right? When I was in college, I would just get on offer up in the middle of like studying, and that's when I would find my best scores. I don't know why, but this is one of those scenarios. I was getting ready for finals, and I just freaking pulled out my phone, got on offer up for a little study break or whatever, and this dude had posted something like less than 10 minutes ago. And here in Houston, that's the only way you're going to score is if something's been posted for 10 minutes or less. Like, don't even bother scrolling past the 10-minute mark. So this guy had 2 separate listings in the last 10 minutes, and they were both just like just giant lots of games. There was consoles, there was games, and they were all cartridges. There were no disc-based games in there. So NES, Genesis, N64. Dude wanted like $100 for everything in both listings. And I was just like, immediately, I saw one game in there, Clay Fighter Sculptor's Cut. And I was like, I am on my way, sir. I don't know where you are, but I'm on my way.
I'm in the car.
And like when things like this happen, people are messaging them constantly like, dude, I will give you double that. I'll give you triple that. Like if someone else saw Sculptor's Cut in there, there's no doubt in my mind that they were messaging them offering $400. But the game at the time was worth about $400. Like right now it's like double that for some wild reason. But anyways, the game wasn't the only major thing in there. There was a transparent black game N64 in there with controller. There was just like a bunch of pretty good games in there, but the biggest things were definitely that console and that game. So I met up with him at a mall at a parking lot and gave him the $100 that he asked for, and I walked out of there and I was like cheesing from ear to ear. It was insane. I remember calling my girlfriend and just like freaking out on the phone for the whole ride home. I was like, I can't believe this. And yeah, definitely my best score ever. And the guy messaged me later asking, he literally said, hey, I didn't mean to sell you Sculptor's Cut. Can we meet back up?
And you were like, sorry, I'm out of town.
I was like, look, dude, if it makes you feel any better, it's going to a collector. I'm not going to resell it. Like, that's all I told him. I was like, you're not getting it back, but at least you know I'm not going to resell it.
Oh, what did he say to that?
I think he was just like, LOL, all right, man. Like, he was around my age. Like, he wasn't too mad about it, but I think, I don't think he knew what it was. I think that someone messaged him after he sold me the games and was like, hey, man, you just messed up big time. So I think that's what happened there.
I'm sure that's exactly what happened. Dang. I don't think I would have given it back either. Like, sorry, dude.
Like, what the heck? That was the whole reason I went out there.
Dang. I'm jealous. I've never gotten a score that big. Mine come in small victories. So I think I talked about this last time. About my score with the Nintendo 64 and all the games and like the cabinet and controllers and stuff from a Goodwill. Mm-hmm. So I was at a Goodwill. And it was a new Goodwill, too, so I was very surprised. But I walked in, and in the cabinet there was one of those Nintendo 64, I don't know, what are they called? Cabinets, drawer things? Like the ones that you see all the time?
Yeah.
And there was Nintendo 64 on top, and there was a bag with 4 controllers, the red, blue, green, and yellow controllers, and 3 of those, like, little memory cards in it. And so I was like, okay, if I pay $70, which is what it was for this, it's Probably going to be a good deal with the cabinet and everything. That's probably about $70, maybe a little bit more. Plus I think it was like a 25% off coupon, so it's going to be even cheaper than that. And so I asked the lady, like, do you mind me taking it out and looking at it? So I opened the cabinet, and there were games inside. It was by no means full, but there was Harvest Moon, there was Mario Kart, there was Banjo-Kazooie, there was Ocarina of Time, No Majora's Mask, Super Mario 64, Skate Boy? Paper Boy. Not Skate Boy. Paper Boy. And then 1080, the snowboarding game, I think was in there. And I was like, okay, I'm definitely going to get this. So she got it out and she's like, oh, you want this? And I said, yes, please. And so on each item, though, there was a price of $70. So she was like, okay, $70 for this, and $70 for this, and $70 for this. And I was like, wait, hold on a second. That's not right. And she's like, well, it says $70. And I said, yeah, but I think it's for, like, the whole bundle, because it was, like, bundled. It was, like, taped together. And she was like, but the controllers say $7. And I was like, can I speak to your manager?
Oh, my gosh.
And so the person who actually priced it came out, and she said, yeah, no, everything is $70. And I was like, oh, thank God. I can pay, like, $700
like a grand.
For all this stuff.
Oh, my gosh.
So, yeah, I walked away with that for $70, so I was very excited for. Especially for me, because Nintendo 64 is like my jam. And plus, this was like when I first started collecting, so I didn't necessarily have like any of these games, besides probably, obviously, Mario Kart and Legend of Zelda. But the other ones I didn't have, so I was very excited. That's probably my biggest score.
That's really awesome. I can't believe you actually like asked for the manager. I'm surprised you didn't just walk out of there and be like, all right, I guess I'll pass.
No, if it's something I really, really want. And I knew she was wrong too. Because who's gonna tape it all together and say each individual thing? So I was like, please be like, please have a manager here. So yes, I mustered up the courage to actually talk to somebody. Thank you for pointing that out. So everyone knows I'm socially inept.
That doesn't sound like the Hannah I know.
All right. Next question. How many games do you have?
I just checked, so don't think I'm weird for this, but I have 1490. I'm about to hit 1500.
Dang. Well, I actually don't know. I'm certainly less than that. Oh, maybe not, because if I add up all of my Sega and... You know what? I don't know. I'm probably about 1200. Because the last time I checked on, like, my little app that I use, it was, like, 900. So I assume that I've collected more since then. So it's probably around 1200. Definitely less than you. I'm not buying all that stuff that you buy.
I mean, you could just tell by the way we start every podcast. Hey, Anna, what'd you buy? Oh, I bought Trials of Mana. Christian, here's 42 games I bought yesterday. Like,
in 67 boxes. Yeah, you're right. So no, I certainly don't have as much as you. All right, Marbles, can you stop? I'm sure you can hear that. I know my microphone certainly hears it.
Our podcast mascot, Marbles.
Oh, she tried to crawl on my lap too. When she wakes up from a nap, she gets confused and she's like, "Oh, gotta find mom." And then when she finds me, she gets really excited.
So expect our next thumbnail to have Marbles in it.
Marbles' little face in it. Oh boy. Okay, hopefully I can cut that out. All right. Next question is, what is the console in your collection that has the most games? That doesn't make any sense. What console in your collection have you collected the most games for? That makes sense.
You can answer because I gotta freaking look it up real quick.
All right. I think if I were to count every single one, I think probably the PlayStation 2 is probably a good contender for like home consoles, but I think the Game Boy Advance is probably where I have the most. Actually,
they're just so easy to find.
It might be the Switch now.
Oh wow!
Definitely should have looked this up, but I think I have around 80 Switch games. This could be Switch. I don't know. I don't really count that much. I know I probably should, but I don't. Doesn't really matter.
The same thing I said earlier. Well, not the same thing I said earlier. I have 230-ish GameCube games, and that's definitely the most for me. But GBA is pretty close behind at almost 200.
Jeez, I don't have that many. I guess I'm not that dedicated to collecting, but I don't have nearly that many. I think I have 15 GameCube games.
That shocks me every time you say it.
And I probably have like 12 Wii U games. Probably like 15 Wii games.
Well, now you got to count up your Switch games. Not right now, but I want to know.
I know, I should have done that before, but I didn't. I kind of forgot I had this question on here. All right, next question. Okay, favorite thing in your collection?
Favorite things or thing?
You can say things. We can go things.
I see an S on that question, so I'm gonna say things.
Things. Top 5 things. How about that?
I'm not gonna put 5 on it, but I do enjoy the things that the things that people don't have, right? So it's not because they're rare, but it's like everybody has a copy of Super Mario World. Like, even though it's my first game, my favorite game, it's like it's not one of the best things in my collection. Like, I'm happy to have my childhood copy and everything, but favorite things in my collection are like the Frogger 3D bundle, because I worked really hard to find that. The Star Fox Adventures survival kit, like what a gnarly, like wild thing that exists. Definitely some of the Rayman stuff, because I'm a huge Rayman fan. Not necessarily Rayman games, but definitely like the things that I've found that no one cares about or no one will ever care about.
The obscure things.
Right. And then just because probably the double pack on Game Boy Advance, the Dexter's Lab and Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah, the one we talk about all the time.
Yeah, that was like a huge part of my, like, I don't know, it was like a defining moment in my collecting career. I don't know, I discovered the game and then I found it, and it was a big deal. So that holds a special place in my heart. Plus, I am obsessed with Dexter's Lab. I freaking love that show.
I also like that show. That was a banger.
Classic. It's on HBO Max.
Is it really?
Sure is.
Oh man, I have another thing to watch. Alright, what would my favorite things be? See, I'm kind of the opposite of you. I lean towards, like, nostalgia things, or, like, things that people have given me. So I guess my favorite thing would be, like, my childhood Nintendo 64 and games would probably be my favorite. Just because that's probably what got me into gaming and blah, blah, blah. I'm sure we talked about that. The next thing is the French copy of Ocarina of Time that my mom got me when she was on vacation in France and Germany and all of that. That was amazing. That's cool. She also got me an alarm clock, like a Zelda alarm clock that was supposed to be like a prize for a giveaway or something, but nobody wanted it. So it was just in the store, and they're like, "You want it?" She's like, "Yeah, I'll take that." So it was cool. It's Breath of the Wild, Legend of Zelda, like a Japanese alarm clock. It's written all in Japanese.
That was in Europe?
That was in Europe. I believe it was still in France.
That's cool. I can't believe somebody didn't want it.
I know. So that's cool. I have that in my collection. Then probably my next favorite thing would be my Masters edition of my Zelda Breath of the Wild, like that big box, that nice big box, textured big box that comes with the statue in the game and a whole bunch of other stuff. That's probably my next favorite. That's all I can think of right now, though. But yeah, certainly the things that I'm most nostalgic for is probably my favorite.
Totally acceptable, because nostalgia is a driving force for this hobby.
Yeah, it is. All right, next question. Do you keep your shelves organized all the time? I think I already know the answer to this one.
I think I already know the answer to yours. Yeah, I mean, right now, it's a pain, because when I get new games, I have to move them all down just to keep them alphabetized. And I get new games like every day, so It's like, maybe once a week, or if I'm really lazy, every other week I will organize them into the shelf. Right now I've got like my latest GameCube games just kind of stacked up somewhere. But yeah, for the most part.
Yep. Me, not so much. I try, but like you said earlier, I have a cat, so I have to dust things all the time, and I take pictures all the time, so everything's moving. Amiibo were coming off the shelf, games coming off the shelf. So most of the time, my collection is in total disarray, but every once in a while, I'll organize it, and it'll look really good. And I'm like, wow, why didn't I keep it this way? And then I realize why I don't keep it this way, because things are constantly moving. So the answer to that is no. But I have good intentions. I try. Next question is kind of a hard one. Why do we collect the things we do?
Well, I just said that like nostalgia is like a driving factor for collecting video games. Hannah and I, we love, or I guess you and I both love video games, and it's not just playing them. At least for me, it's not just playing them. I'm very interested in the history, and I love learning about video game history. I love to research things and learn about developers and publishers and just see why things exist sometimes. I love arcade games too. It's not just console and handheld stuff. I love everything about the video game industry. I collect things partially because of rarity. Like that's definitely a big driving factor for me. Most of the games I've bought on Game Boy Advance, I can't say most, but a lot of the games I've been buying on Game Boy Advance the last year, it's like I'm trying to buy things before people realize how rare they are. I have a lot of games right now that like no one cares about, but there's like no copies on eBay. And so eventually they're going to be worth a whole heck of a lot. Like there's just no doubt about it. XS Moto is like this freaking motorcycle game that I'm never going to play, that I just don't care about, but it's like there's been 0 sold in the last 3 months, and I found it at a Colorado game store for $12 because they just don't know what they have. They see a motorcycle on the cover and it's like, oh, that's just a cheap racing game. Like, why would I sell it for anything more than $12? Rarity definitely has a lot to do with it for me. I like to buy things for the sake of like, oh, I love Dexter's Lab, so let me buy every Dexter's Lab game. There's definitely a lot of that in my collection. There was another example I was going to use. Oh, I'm a set collector as well, so like I'm trying to find every GameCube game. That's another thing that like why I collect the things I do. But if you ask me like why I'm set collecting for the GameCube specifically, I don't really have a good answer for that. When I started getting into video game collecting, it was like early college, and I just noticed that like PS2 games and Xbox games weren't worth crap, and GameCube games were. And I was like, well, I can easily find these at Goodwill. At the time, that was true. And I was doing a lot of Goodwilling, and it was like, okay, Soul Calibur 2, great example. It's not worth anything on PS2 or Xbox, but the game on GameCube is just worth a lot more. And I guess you could argue that Link's in that game, but aside from that, it's just like Nintendo products always tend to have the higher value. Like, that's 90% of the time that's true. I didn't grow up with PS2. I sort of grew up with Xbox, but it was just like GameCube is prime nostalgia for me, I guess. Maybe that's why I'm set collecting for the GameCube specifically. But I don't know. I have always wanted to collect. I don't know. I guess that's it for that. Go ahead, Hannah.
That was a very good answer.
Thank you.
You're welcome. My answer is because I like buying things. I think that if I had not played video games when I was younger, I would definitely be addicted to like Pokemon card buying or like Yu-Gi-Oh card buying. Some of the similar things. Like obviously I like Legend of Zelda, so I'm gonna be buying like every Legend of Zelda game I can find. But yeah, I just like collecting things. Which is probably a really sad answer.
When I was growing up, I collected things as well. I think it's part of the reason why I never got rid of consoles is just because I'm a collector at nature. Like, I wasn't a collector since I was 3 years old. That's not why I still have my original Super Nintendo. It's just the fact
Right.
that, like, I just don't want to get rid of things. Sounds like a hoarder when you put it that way.
We call that hoarding. Oh, man. Yeah, so we probably have that, but... I mean, I'm also, like, super interested in the video game industry. I once thought I wanted to be one of those programmers and realized that I didn't. But I'd still like to be part of the video game industry in general. I think that it's also an art form. I really like the stories that they're trying to tell, you know, the not necessarily social agendas they're trying to push, but, you know, just the social issues that they bring up. And I think that video games are the future. Like, in 50 years, could we be in, like, an all virtual reality thing? Yeah, like, yeah, I think so. 100 years? Absolutely. So I think that's super cool. I think it's really exciting to see where video games are going.
You know, sometimes I think about, like 80-year-olds now would never touch a game, but, you know, when I'm 80, I'm going to be sitting there freaking playing the games that I grew up with. I'm going to be playing video games in a rocking chair at, like, 85 years old, you know?
You're darn right, because we're not scared of technology like they were. At least we've been introduced to it.
Right. To any of my 85-year-old listeners, thank you for listening to the show.
Yes, thank you very much. Actually, on my Instagram, we have the business account, so you can see, like, the demographic, and I have a 75-plus-year-old.
Just one?
I think it's just one. It says less than 1%. So thank you to that 75-plus-year-old.
That's amazing.
Thank you very much. All right, next question is, how much money have you spent on your collection?
I can't imagine that you know the answer to this for yourself.
Once upon a time I did, because, like, after I graduated high school, that's when I, like, really started buying a whole lot of things. So I got a whole bunch of graduation money, and I spent it very quickly. So yes, I do know, but I don't necessarily want to say the number. Just know it's a lot.
I literally don't know. I'm sure it's a lot more than you, but it's I recently started keeping an Excel sheet, so I want to see how much I spend every year, and it's going to be a scary number, but I'm still interested. And yeah, so just doing that from month to month now.
Oh my god, that sounds... I would not want to quantify like that. At least I know a rough number in my head. All right, the other side of that coin is, how much is your collection worth?
Oh,
roughly.
Let me pull up the old Game Eye app real quick.
That's what I use. It's pretty outdated. Or me keeping up with it's outdated. Not that the app's outdated. But I think I have a rough estimate.
30 grand.
Oh my god.
But it's like, you know, it's just price charting. It's probably more or less. I have no idea.
Yeah, so it's basically just what the app says, but mine's significantly less than that. Mine's probably around 15 to 20. If I add, like, both, like, the stuff at my parents' house and stuff that I have here. Which, don't come find me.
Oh,
Pay
shoot.
where I live.
Somebody's going to be like, yeah, I just want to send you guys a gift. Can I get your address? Don't do that. It's not funny.
Okay. That's not funny. Okay, might delete that part. Okay, next we have questions about, like, how we collect, or, like I said, metaphorical questions. So, first off, sealed or unsealed? Which one do you like better? Which one do you collect more of?
Unsealed. I don't have a problem with sealed games, and I will buy them, but like, if I had a preference, if I had to choose between, like, a $50 sealed game or a $20 unsealed game, I mean, I'm gonna go unsealed. I'm not really that into it, you know.
That's kind of surprising, honestly. So, I obviously don't buy a lot of sealed... Well, that's not true, because every new game that I buy is sealed, but... I always open them, because I always have the intention of playing them, but there are a few exceptions. So, when the Wii U was, like, down in the dumps, and Toys R Us was still a thing, they had a bunch of Wii U games that were on sale, and obviously they were new, so they're sealed, and I have not opened them. Like, I think, out of all the consoles that I have, the Wii U has the most sealed games. And not
Even
because...
more than the Switch?
Yes, because almost all of my Switch games are opened. There's only a few that I don't have opened. Because, obviously, I had the intention when I bought them to play them. But, you know. Anyway, So I'm struggling to open the sealed Wii U games because I know there'll obviously be more, collectible or more expensive, like 20 years down the road. And plus, a lot of them have already been ported to the Switch. But, like, I don't want to buy them again on the Switch. So I can't decide if I should open them or not. So far, I haven't. And then they've been sealed since I bought them, but I don't know. I've struggled with opening them this whole time. But I see them every day, and I'm like, I should play that. Does that make sense?
Like what? I mean, the Tokyo Mirage sessions?
There's Tokyo Mirage Sessions. There's Splatoon. There's Splatoon. There's Xenoblade X. There's Super Mario Bros. With the Luigi one.
Right.
There's a few more, but I can't remember. Yeah, those are the main ones. They've all been ported to the Switch except for X, Xenoblade Chronicles X, which is like the only one that I think that I would open, but I'm still holding out hope that they're going to port it to the Switch, and I'll just buy it then.
That's fair.
But yeah, I open most of my games because I always have the intention of playing them. Whether or not I do, that's another question, but...
Well, for this next question, I guess you kind of answered it, but thoughts on keeping games sealed versus opening them. If I have a sealed game, I'm not going to open it. Like with the exclusion of modern games, right? Like I'm going to buy a sealed game, I'm going to open it and play it. But if I'm buying a Game Boy Advance game and it ends up being sealed, then I'm not going to open it. And the reason being is it's worth way more in a lot of cases. And so if I really wanted to play the game, I have two options. I could sell the sealed one and then buy a complete in box one and like keep the profit, or just like buy a loose cartridge. Like I don't know, it doesn't make sense to open them.
Yeah, I agree, except for those psychopaths who like make videos about it, opening old sealed Game Boy. Like, no, why would you do that? But yeah, if I stumble upon a sealed, like, any kind of handheld or like Game Boy Advance game, I'm certainly keeping that thing sealed, and I'll just buy an opened one or a loose one.
There's Gerard Khalil, the completionist on YouTube. He got a Shantae sealed for Game Boy Color, and that's like the most expensive Game Boy Color game. And he got it from a developer, and he told him that the only way that he could have it is if he opened it. And so he like made a video of himself opening it. And yeah, I mean that was a tough decision.
Oh my god.
It's really crazy. But yeah, the developer was like, open this and play it as it was intended to be. But
oh, well that's kind of nice though.
Yeah, when you put it like that, it's kind of nice.
Aw. That is nice. Yeah, certainly keep your sealed things sealed if you want, or open them if you want, whatever. But just know that it decreases the value and it hurts every single collector when you open it. Anyway, next question is thoughts on collecting other things related to games that aren't games. So like the merch or like little figures and stuff.
I just finished selling off about 30 Funko Pops, and I think that is a pretty good way to answer this question. I'm really learning that I don't care about a lot of this other stuff, and a lot of it is being sold. A lot of it is being just gotten rid of. And like games are my primary thing. And I used to collect comic books pretty hard. And I've sold off like, I think 300 comic books in the last few years. And comics are really hard to justify because they sit there. And most of them are worth $1 or less, and they just sit there, and you can't even look at them because they're in these cardboard boxes. Like, at least games, you can display them, but, man, these comic books are just hard to justify. What else do I collect? I got rid of the Funko Pops, which would probably have been my third thing that I collect, I guess. I have Pokemon cards that I've had since I was a kid, and literally have not added to them in, like, 20 years. Like, I mean, maybe 15. I don't do anything with my Pokemon cards. I have a few like random toys just on display on that shelf I was talking about. I think amiibo are cool, not gonna lie. I think they're very cool, but I'm not spending $13 or whatever on each one. It's just me. I think they're gorgeous. I know that they're awesome whether you keep them sealed or not. I love them, but they're just not on my priority list personally.
Thank you for trying to justify.
No, I mean, your shelf. I mean, they're so nice, but I just can't do it.
They're nice. Thank you for trying not to hurt my feelings.
What else, Hannah?
I don't know. You got the cards.
You know what? When I see VHSs of like things that are based on video games, so like I have Street Fighter movies. I think that's cool. And VHSs are like 89 cents at Goodwill, so why would I not pick that up?
Good point.
I think that's it. You go for it.
All right. I also I used to collect Pokemon cards. I used to collect Yu-Gi-Oh cards. But if I'm like in a Goodwill and I see like a huge stack of them for like $5, I'm probably gonna buy them. I don't know if that's just because I want them or because I have that sickness, but I have a lot of those. And every time I go home, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna organize these. And then every time I realize how much of a pain it is to organize them. So I probably have thousands of them just stacked up in the corner.
Yeah, that's a freaking job right there. You have to go organize them by series and stuff. That's a nightmare.
You can do series, or you can do alphabetical, or you can do like by type and alphabetical. But the thing is, as soon as you get more, you have to redo it, which is what I'm experiencing right now. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to organize them at the very end when I've decided that I'm done with collecting.
In your grave.
Right. Exactly. And then, as you know, I collect amiibo, and I like opening them because they should be enjoyed. I like them open, and they would take too much space if they were still sealed in their boxes. But I also have like shirts. That's like my main wardrobe is like Nintendo shirts or like Marvel shirts. Lanyards, controller accessories, controllers, obviously. Yeah, I pretty much collect it all, honestly. But obviously the big things that I collect are obviously games and then amiibo. Everything else is just kind of like the icing on top, cherry on top.
Yeah.
Plus, I think that for me personally on Instagram, like your collections look better if you have like other things to decorate it. It's not just straight up games. That's just a personal opinion. Like when I first started on Instagram, I didn't collect amiibo because I was like, that's stupid and that's expensive. And then I got into collecting the Zelda ones because I was like, that's my favorite series. Having little figures of them, that's cool. And then it just kind of took off from there. And so now I want to collect all of them. But to me, taking pictures on Instagram, it looks a lot better if you have like figures or like other things. That's my aesthetic.
It's definitely nice to throw them in there with your pictures and stuff, no doubt.
That's just a personal thing for me. But yeah, I mean, if anything Zelda or Mario or like anything Nintendo, I'll probably buy it at some point. Oh, I also have like a bunch of toys. Like the little kids' toys or like McDonald's Happy Meals toys or stuff like that. I have a whole bunch of those. My family's like really good at finding them at places now, and they're like, "You want this?" And I'm like, "Yes, of course I do."
Yeah, you have some interesting stuff that's like vintage that I've never seen before.
Yeah. So one of the things, I guess, is just to highlight one of the things, but it's like a really old figure of Luigi, and basically it's just Mario but like green, and it's actually a piggy bank. But you can tell that thing's like ancient. But yeah, my aunt got me that. That was really exciting. So yeah, I have like a bunch of Pokemon toys and all stuff like that. But like I said, awesome. I think it looks better in pictures that way. All right. Next question is protection cases or not? To protect or not to protect?
If you have any cardboard in your collection, it needs to have a box protector. That's just period.
Yeah, that's basically my opinion now too. I used to think it was stupid. And then I realized like how expensive the things in my collection were getting. I'm like, oh man, maybe I should put a protection case on it. Also, I've moved 3 times now, so.
Oh man.
Yeah. So there's been a little bit of damage, but can't really help that. But now that I have protector's cases on them, it shouldn't be bad. It is expensive though. Like I spent over $200 in just cases.
It's pretty annoying. What do you put them on? Everything?
I've put them on pretty much all of my like big boxes. So like my Zelda ones, my Xenoblade Chronicles ones.
Oh yeah.
They're also on my 3DS big boxes, the games, the amiibo with the amiibo. Same thing with the Wii U ones. Also, my 3DS and my Zelda 2DS.
If you are listening to this and you're like considering it, just know that accidents happen, and if you're planning to move, then yes, you need them.
Yeah. And they're not crazy expensive, but I mean, it's like $3 or $4 for the small ones, and then the biggest one that I spent was $30, which was the Zelda Masters Edition one, which kind of hurt a little bit, but then at the same time, that collector's edition's worth like $500 now, so it's kind of worth it.
Wow. The ones I haven't gotten are console protector boxes, box protector cases, consoles. Yep.
Yeah, I don't have those either. Like, I don't have one on my Switch or like my Wii U or my Wii, but yeah, I don't know. Those
are probably like $20 each. That's kind of hard.
The Wii U one, I might consider putting one on, but all the other ones, nah. Like, I mean, there's millions of Switches and there's millions of Wiis out there, so I'm not really worried about that. Handhelds for sure, though.
Wait, do you have the Wind Waker Wii U? Is that why?
No, I have the Mario Kart one.
Oh, okay.
So it is a fancy box. Plus, a lot of people didn't keep their Wii U boxes.
What else we got?
Next is, I think we talked about this a little bit, but would you rather have a childhood copy of a game or a minty copy? Like, if you could only have one.
I know most people say the childhood copy, but aside from Super Mario World, I just don't care. I have my childhood Super Mario World and then some other like variants of that cartridge, but I just want the best quality, personally.
Nope, I'm childhood copy all the way.
Nothing wrong with that.
See, for me also, this is probably part of my sickness, but most of the things that I get are obviously pre-owned. Like, nothing retro I have, besides the things that I had when I was younger. Obviously, I did buy them new. But it feels like... Oh, this is going to make me sound so freaking crazy. But, like, I don't know. It's special that somebody else, like, got to play that game, like, and experience it the way that you did. You know what I'm saying? Like, they bought that game for the first time. They were so excited to play it. And you can see, like, the wear and tear from, like, when they're playing it or, like, when they're enjoying it. I know that makes me sound freaking crazy, but I appreciate them. Appreciate the things, even if they're worn. Does that make sense?
So you don't rub off Sharpie?
No. I don't. You've seen my Banjo-Kazooie one. It says Jake on it. That somebody mistakenly thought was joke. And they were like, you shouldn't write this on or you shouldn't, like, hate and call Banjo-Kazooie a joke just because you don't like it, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, excuse me, this is Jake.
You freaking, like, are so critical about my Clay Fighter because of the Sharpie, but you don't remove Sharpie.
No, I don't. I don't care if you have Sharpie on your things. I think it shows character. There's also a phone number on the back of some games that I have. I got them from a lot, and it actually has a phone number. So
and why did you make me feel like I needed to wipe the Sharpie off of mine, Hannah?
I don't believe I did. I don't remember ever saying that.
Oh, man. I got to get the receipts out.
You better bring the receipts. I don't remember saying that. I apologize if I hurt your feelings. All right. Next are kind of a bunch of questions. It's retro versus modern. So which, in your opinion, is funner, like the fun... Funner's not a word, but funner to collect for?
Definitely retro. Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, I could see someone arguing modern, I guess, but it's retro for me.
I'm going to argue modern because it's not just like the games. I think not that the games are better, but like the atmosphere around gaming, I feel like is at an all-time high. So it's really fun to get like caught up in the communities who are like super excited about these games. You know what I'm saying? Like as the time that they're coming out versus like 10 years down the road or like 20 years down the road. You know what I'm saying?
I suppose.
Like I'm sure the hype around Super Mario when it came out on NES was amazing. Like I would have loved to experience that. But I obviously didn't grow up playing those games. And now that I think I'm a bigger gamer now than ever. So I really like to experience like everyone's thoughts or like opinions or like, you know what I'm saying? Just get caught up in the atmosphere, community atmosphere.
That was a very wholesome answer.
Thank you.
I guess I would say retro just because I'm very passionate about the history of video games and rarity.
I can see that. It's like two sides of the same coin. Obviously, I collect retro too, but to try to chase that nostalgia. But I also like being caught up with the new times. Caught up with the times, you know?
Totally okay. No matter what kind of collector you are, we are accepting here at the Unlockable Podcast.
Exactly. Even if it's just Funko Pops, that's cool.
Unless you sort chronologically.
Yeah, then you can go elsewhere. All right, next, kind of in the same vein, is which one do we mostly collect for? I think I know your answer, but share it anyway.
Oh, you know me. I got like 100 Switch games, so definitely modern.
Yeah, that's right.
Retro all the way.
Retro. So which system do you collect like the most for? I guess you could just say recently, not in general.
Yeah, all I ever talk about is Game Boy Advance. I don't have to like pull out my phone to see the answer to that. It's just that's what it's been for the last year and a half.
All right. Next is the easiest console to collect for. PS2.
Oh, undoubtedly. I mean, it seems like PS2 is finally having a shift, but they're so common and they're just everywhere. Every Goodwill you go to will have the PS2 or Xbox 360 also.
Yeah, that's true. Xbox 360 is out there too.
Yeah, for sure those two for me.
All right. Next is it worth it to spend, X amount of dollars on collector's editions like for you? Like, do you think spending that extra, $20, $40, $100, I don't know, on a collector's edition is worth it?
As someone who doesn't collect a whole lot of modern stuff, it's got to be a kind of... So, like, if Rayman came out with something, I'd be buying the heck out of it. I'd spend $300 on a collector's edition. I don't even care. But people that go to limited run and they buy every collector's edition just because... oh, like, it's going to be rare someday. Like, let me just buy this. I don't support that. Especially when every collector's edition, I'm just going to say it, every collector's edition at limited run games is like these 25-cent knickknacks that are themed to whatever you are buying. And so I'm not a fan, man. Statues are pretty awesome, but how many can you fit in your game room? Like, they take up a lot of space. My answer is I think you should buy collector's editions sparingly. I think you should buy the ones for the games that you really care about, and that's it. I don't think you need to go overboard and fill your room with these big boxes that just have a bunch of a medal for this game or like a deck of cards. Like, it's not that cool.
Dang, shots fired. No, I agree. I think the only collector's editions that I really have are games that I really like Zelda or Mario or stuff like that. I don't usually buy collector's editions just because they're going to be rare in the future. Because I mean, all collector's editions are going to be rare. That's kind of like the thing. Collectors, But yeah, definitely sparingly. Plus, my wallet can't handle that. Like, I can't go spending $90 on Bug Fables and then get whatever the next limited run release is. I'd rather spend it on games than knick-knacky things, unless the collector's edition was like super cool and it had some like really cool things. Like, not saying that I would ever buy this, but if it were something like that, like I don't know if it was like Doom Eternal or like one of those big games, but it had like an actual like helmet, or maybe it was Halo, where it came like with a helmet or something.
Oh yeah,
that was pretty freaking cool. But then again, it was also like $300 or something crazy, so probably not. But
if you're not spending $100 every time a game comes out, you can save that money and put it towards the ones you care about.
That's true. Yes. Very true. Okay, next, which is kind of a follow-up to that, is if you do buy these collector's editions, do you open them?
I honestly can't even think of a collector's edition that I bought, but I would open it. Yes, I would.
Same. I agree. I wouldn't necessarily display all the objects in it, but I'd certainly open it.
Right.
Because I need the game out of it to play it. Yes, I certainly open all of them. Okay, here's another one. Do you collect multiple versions of a game? Like on the PS2, the GameCube, and the Xbox? Like, is it worth it to you?
Yeah. Um, I guess that's kind of tough. Like, I have done that before. I'm thinking of Sonic, Sonic Heroes. I'm thinking of Rayman Arena. But Rayman's like a special case, right? It doesn't really count.
Right.
Um, is it worth it? No. I mean, buying video games in general is not worth it, right? But like, I don't know. I don't think that. I think one's good, right? But I'm a hypocrite for saying that, so I don't know.
I kind of agree. Like when I first started collecting, obviously I didn't have an infinite amount of money, so I always went with the cheapest option, which usually was PS2. Because I'd see the GameCube games and I'd see the PS2 games, and I was like, GameCube's really expensive. Like, why would I buy that one? Stupidly, because I saw so many GameCubes when I first started collecting GameCube games that were like expensive games. Like, for example, Simpsons Hit and Run, which is really expensive now on the GameCube. I saw it at Goodwill, but I was like, nah, I already own it on the PS2. Like, I don't need it.
Dang.
That was dumb. So, yes and no. Like, obviously, like you said earlier, the GameCube version is going to be more expensive, so I'd probably buy that one. But then again, if you really want to experience like the height of that game, like the best version, GameCube's probably not the best route to go. Because it's obviously not as strong as the PS2 or the Xbox. So I would go, if you want, with the better version, but that's just me.
Yeah, I mean that you could use that answer for not just the PS2 era, but for any era, just buy the best version. Well, no, you can't say that because you buy Switch games left and right, and they're like the worst version of the game.
Yeah, but that's modern games because I don't have a PS4 or a PS5 now and an Xbox, so that's the only console I have.
We will accept that answer.
Thank you, appreciate it. Okay, next question: quality versus quantity. So, would you rather have a collection that is rare or one that's made of good games? It's a pretty black and white answer. Can't be both.
You can have quality of good games and wait a minute.
Are you
I'm
confused?
going to say quality for sure, but I don't understand your question.
Okay, so would you rather have a collection that's made up of like completely rare games, like your Game Boy games that no one cares about, or I mean your Game Boy Advance games that no one cares about, or would you rather have a collection that's built up of like all the Mario games or like all the Zelda games?
I see. So you're looking at this question, but this is also like a separate question right here. But anyways, definitely I'm going to answer both. So I would rather have quality and I would rather have rare than good games. And I can argue that one because I could just totally see myself playing games digitally if I had to choose rare instead of just having a collection of good games. So yeah, that's my answer. Is that a loophole you weren't expecting?
That was a little bit of a loophole, but I think I'm the opposite opinion. I'd rather most of my collection is not rare at all. You could argue that some of them might be uncommon, but most of them are like Marios and your Zeldas and stuff that I know is going to be good games. Not saying that they're not rare, but it's Mario and Zelda, so they sold millions of copies. But most of the things that I collect are like only games that I intend to play. I don't really care about rarity. It's not the kind of collector that I am. Rarity is cool. If I see a rare game like Ribbit King, I'm obviously going to buy it, but I'm not actively seeking them, if that makes sense. All right,
Fair.
Next question. Do you collect homebrews or hacks?
I don't. I've just never had any interest in them. I mean, good for them for making games, but I'm just not interested in them, period.
I agree. The only hack that I bought was for a friend. It was Pokemon Ash Gray, and it basically follows the events of like the anime. So I bought that for her, and I also bought myself a copy. But I've never played it though. But it's cool. Concept is cool.
Nice.
Next is thoughts on steelbooks. It's like a big
those
thing.
Those are cool as heck. Like, I don't have very many, but one time, like if I see them at Best Buy, Best Buy is weird. This generation of video games is weird because you can just buy a steelbook by itself nowadays.
Without the game, it's odd.
Yeah, like I guess I like it because I had the standard edition of Doom Eternal, and I just went and got the steelbook for literally $5 at Best Buy, and I was like, okay, I guess I have the steelbook for this game now. So I think they're cool. I think they're gorgeous to look at, and they look great on a shelf. But I don't have that many.
I see. Before I actually like bought one, I was like, steelbooks are kind of, I don't know, like what would I ever need that for? And then my Xenoblade Chronicles 2 edition actually came with a steelbook, and not the regular game, by the way. I mean, it came with the regular game, but like not the regular game case. And I was like, well, this is kind of dumb. I want the regular case. But the steelbook was like beautiful, and I put it on the shelf, and I was like, wow, this is kind of hard to display. Because obviously it naturally wants to close, but it's got two really beautiful sides. So I'm like, which side do I choose to display? That's my only gripe against steelbooks. But yeah, the thing about them being sold separately, like without the game, is weird. Usually Best Buy, though, they have like, if you buy the game, you get the steelbook for free.
Right.
Which is something that they have, but I guess sometimes they have more steelbooks than the games sell, so then they sell them for like $5 or $10. There are a few steelbooks, though, that I wish I would have gotten. One of them would be the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe one that came out at Best Buy.
Yeah.
That one came out. It was weird because it came out like after the game had already been out for a long time. So I guess it was just like an incentive to buy the game. But I wasn't going to buy the game again to get the steelbook for free. But then they never sold them separately. So that was my missed opportunity. But yeah, I think they're cool, but they're just kind of hard to display.
That's crazy. You know, the Mario Kart on Wii U, it had that really freaking rare like statue, the blue shell statue. Have you ever seen that?
Yep.
And then now this steelbook is like pretty collectible on Switch. It's wild.
It is. Yes, very hard to find. Okay, next question. What games do you buy day one, and what determines if you buy a game on day one?
It has to have Mario in the title. No, I don't really buy many modern games, but when I do, I wait a long time because they always drop in price. But what determines me buying it day one?
Yeah.
Like no joke on what I'm about to say. It's got to have Nintendo in it because I'm not buying any Xbox or PlayStation game day one. It will always drop in price. So Nintendo is the first criteria, and it's just got to be something I really want to play, I guess. Yeah, that's all I got to say.
Very nice answer. Yeah, so I don't buy Xbox or PlayStation, obviously. So for me, obviously, it's gotta be Nintendo, right? That's obvious. And then usually it's like Zelda or Mario or like a good Nintendo title like Splatoon or Mario Kart that I know is gonna be good. But then sometimes I do take some leaps, like Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I had no idea what that game was gonna be. I had not played the first one, but it came out with a really pretty collector's edition, and I was like, I don't know a lot about this game, but I think I want to try it. Glad I did, by the way. It's an amazing game. But yeah, it's got to be something that I think I'm going to enjoy. Obviously, I'm not going to buy something if I don't think I'm going to like it. Like Monster Hunter Rise, I've never played a Monster Hunter Rise or a Monster Hunter game before, so I was hesitant to buy it day one, and I didn't because I know it's probably going to drop in price, but like also at the same time, I feel like I'm missing out, and I want to buy it just because everyone's saying it's so great.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things.
And follow-up question, do you buy games because they might be rare in the future? Obviously, this is talking about like modern games.
And so contrary to the video that I just released last week, I don't buy... I don't do that with modern games very often. Maybe once in a while. I'll say that.
Yeah. Some of the rarest games, I don't know if you can call them rare, but uncommon at best, like Ys Origin, or not Ys Origin. Well, actually, that game is kind of rare now to buy physically, but Ys 8 and Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which is now out of print, and then Torna, the Golden Country, that one's also out of print. Obviously, I didn't buy those because I thought they'd be rare. I bought them because I wanted to play them. But just them being rare is like a bonus. It's like, cool. Now I have something. I spent $60, but they're worth like $100, so profit. Not that I'm ever going to sell them, but they're still worth that much.
Anytime there's E's in the title, you're guaranteed to profit later.
That's true. There's like Nintendo, obviously their games are not, I mean, they hold their price, not that they necessarily go up. NIS America, their games usually go up in price. Atlas, their games usually go up in price. And Exceed games. So be on the lookout for those. So like in my mind, the 4 companies that games just always either hold their value or become more expensive. Maybe I should have said that. Maybe I'll cut that out.
I would throw Natsume in 5th place there, but the Harvest Moon is like an exception, and that's like half their games.
Yeah, you're right. Natsume's up there too. Okay, next. This might be a hard question to answer. If you could only save one thing in a fire, what would it be?
So we're going to exclude family and dog and cat from this, but one game in a fire.
Yes, sorry. One game and or item from your collection.
I would
no
take
living
the combo
things.
pack for sure. There's only 3 out there, and if my house burning down were to make it 2, then I would not be that guy. I would not be the one who let that game die.
Wow, what a sacrifice. For me, it's a probably be my childhood Nintendo 64, just because I don't know, it's got a lot of nostalgia for me. But I don't know.
What about the Masters Edition or whatever?
That's replaceable
in a protective
though.
box. It'll be all right.
If I wanted to spend $500, I could replace that, but I could never replace my childhood Nintendo 64. You know what I'm saying?
That's pretty wholesome.
Thank you. So yeah, that would be my answer, because you can't replace that. I mean, there's no money in the world that can ever replace that. Once it's gone, it's gone. I think that would be my answer. Either that or my copy of Super Mario 64. Very, very close to my heart.
Just brought a tear to my eye.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay, next is, what kind of game is worth more to you? Oh no, we already said that one. Never mind. Okay. Do you have plans to complete any collections in your collection? I think you already answered this one.
Where are you on this Google Doc?
Oh, I'm not in the Google Doc. I copied and pasted it somewhere else.
Oh, okay. Do I have plans to do what now?
To complete your, any collections. I think you already said it's GameCube, but is that the only one you plan on completing?
You know, I think, if we want to talk long-term, my goal is kind of to just get every game ever made. But, not really, because I would love to complete every set from NES through, GameCube. I would not go for the Wii. I would do Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance. I would do some Xbox and some PlayStation, but that's very long-term. Very, very long-term.
Interesting. All right.
I just plan to complete sets like once I complete one, I move on to the next one. That's kind of my life goal.
Gotcha. So where do you see yourself ending? Just never? When you die?
If someday I finally have every console that I want to complete the set for, I feel like I will just continue to, I'll change my mind and be like, no, the Wii is way too many games, and then I just go and start working on the Wii or something. I don't know. I don't think I'll ever have them all, so I think that's just kind of my goal, is to keep collecting forever.
Gotcha. Yeah, mine's pretty much the same. I don't really have any intentions of completing any collections. The only thing that I think I'm really close to, and it's not even video games, is my Amiibo collection. I think that's the only thing that I want a complete set of.
That would be awesome.
I know. I need a lot more space on my shelves, though. I'm pretty sure I'm 2/3 of the way there. There's some, obviously Japanese ones that hopefully when I go over there, I can buy and not spend $100 just to import them. And then there's that big yarn Yoshi one. That's going to be hard to find, unless I want to pay pretty penny. But yeah, I think that's the only thing I'm close to actually completing a collection on. It's not even video games.
Do you have Poochie?
I do have Poochie. I have the
bundle?
Woolly Worlds bundle. Yeah, the 3DS bundle.
Very
I got
cool.
that. That's very exciting, because I got that from a Walmart. It was the last one. It was in the back. It's not super damaged, but it's Walmart, so they throw their games around when no one's looking, and shove it in the cabinet. But it's got some dents. It's got some bruises. It's a little bit faded from the lights, but it was 4 years after it released. And I was like, oh my God, are you kidding me? It's in the way back behind all the PS4 games, Xbox One games. I need this. It was full price, but it's worth way more now.
But that's nothing now. It's it's $250 or something.
Yep, totally worth it. But that's one of the only Amiibo that I don't have opened, because that game's not opened at all. Actually, that's another sealed game that I have. Totally forgot about that.
So would you open the Wii U one when you get it?
No. That's actually another one that I have sealed. I have the 3DS version and the Wii U one sealed.
Oh, but just the standard edition on Wii U?
No, I have the one that came with the green Yoshi. That's not open either. Dang it. Oh my gosh, I'm a liar.
You know what? I totally forgot that there's the small Yoshi. So did the game never came with the giant Yoshi, did it?
No. That was separate. It came with a small Yoshi.
Gotcha.
There are actually 3 different versions. There's the blue Yoshi, the pink Yoshi, and the green Yoshi.
Right.
And I got the one with the green Yoshi. It's not open, neither is the game. But then the other Yoshis were sold separately, so it didn't really matter. But that's one of the other ones I have unopened. Dang it. Also, my Chibi Robo's unopened too, which I don't know why. That one's worth like $3.
Oh, the 3DS?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have the... No, I remember when it was like stupid cheap, and I never got the Amiibo bundle. But I have the game itself sealed.
Yeah, so do I, but it's not worth anything.
No.
Now, but who knows in the future.
Might be $5.
Yeah. Next is, what are your thoughts on the hobby of collecting now, like in its current stage?
It's blowing up right now. There are investors coming in, people who don't care about video games or video game history, and they are just trying to make a quick buck, and it's working. People are coming in buying things like Mario, your Zelda, your Metroid, things that they have heard of before, whether they play video games or not. And they're sending them in to get graded, and they're making thousands of dollars or whatever. It's crazy right now. And I think that's why I'm going for so much cardboard, is because I know that like time is like scarce. I think games are just increasing by the day, and for a while I thought it was because of COVID, but I honestly have no idea right now. Everything's on fire, and it's a scary time to be a game collector, but I definitely have some FOMO right now, so I sold all my Funko Pops, and what I want to do is use all the money to buy a complete in-box Super Mario World. I can't believe how many times I've mentioned that game today, but I want that game, and it's like it's like $1,000. You can get it for $750. You might get it for $1,200. It's a lot of money, and it's one of the most common games ever, right? But it's because the box itself was never packaged with the console. It was the cartridge and the manual that were packaged with the console.
Huh.
So the box itself. Like, there's like one on eBay right now. It's for $1,000. It's all ripped up, and I don't want that. So I just have a saved search, and I'm looking, and I'm waiting. But I feel like if I don't get that now, it's never gonna drop down, and I just need to get it before it goes any higher.
Dang, $1,000 for a box
with the game.
Yeah, but still, the game's what, $30? So essentially, it's still $1,000.
What else are my thoughts on the hobby of collecting? I don't know. If you're just getting into it, I think you're choosing the worst possible time.
I agree. I really am. I feel bad for the collectors who are getting into it now. I think that we started, I mean, I'm not that old, neither are you, but I started at least 10 years ago-ish on like actually collecting. So I could imagine, honestly, right now the prices are crazy. I don't think they'll continue to climb, though. I think at some point people will be like, it's just a phase. But I could be wrong. Could totally be wrong.
Pokemon is stupid right now.
But I feel like that comes in waves, too. Like, everything comes in waves.
Yeah.
So I kind of hoping video games will be that same way, so I can actually start collecting good games again. Not pay a freaking pretty penny.
The roof keeps raising, right? Like all these all-time highs and all these records, they just keep breaking like every month, and sometimes something will go down, but it just comes right back up, and I don't like it. I don't know what's going on right now, but I'm having a lot of FOMO right now.
Oh man, I feel bad, and it sucks for the people who actually want to collect them though, like actual hardcore collectors.
Yeah.
Or dedicated like their whole lives to this. And that they spend $1,000 for a piece of cardboard. That sucks.
if you think like if you're out there and you're thinking, man, this game's always been cheap for the N64 and I've just been wanting it, but you know, it'll always be cheap. That's not true. You need to go get it. You need to go put it in your shopping cart right now because it's going up.
Some serious FOMO. All right, so you mentioned this like 2 seconds ago, but what are your thoughts on grading games?
I think it's cool to I think it's cool to have it, and I think it's cool to add it to your collection and be like, wow, I got this 95, I got this 8.0, and it's a sealed copy of the game. I mean, it's the ultimate way to protect your game, as far as I'm concerned, and I don't know. It's cool. I don't have any issues with it, but I'm also not actively seeking out sending my games in. The way I see it is like I'm not rich, and it's like $60 to grade a game. And do you know how many games I could buy with $60, or how many, or like I don't know. I could put that $60 towards multiple
Cardboard.
games or one game. Like you get what I'm saying, and it's just it's kind of crazy.
I agree. I am also not going to spend $60 on every game. Plus, none of the games that I have would be worth it because they'd be like 6s or like 7s or like nowhere near it. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. I mean, I'm not saying that's true about your collection, but I see what you mean.
Like, in order for me to have to get a game graded, it has to be like, I think it's going to be like pristine, like 10 or like 9 or even 8. But like anything lower than that, like it's not worth it. I can put it in some like stupid acrylic case with some bubble wrap or something if I really want to keep it protected.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's cool for to preserve the games, obviously, but like there's other ways to do it. You know.
I do think that the investor market is definitely attributed to the grading companies right now. You know, I think that they are seeing a way to get their foot in the door when the grading companies exist.
Yeah, I guess. But those are my thoughts. It's okay. It's fine. If you want to do it, if you want to spend $60, then fine, you do it. But I'm not going to. Next is, I guess we kind of already answered this, but how many different versions of a game do you own?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I have, like I mentioned, Rayman Arena. Sometimes I will have. So you said even retro games. So like I don't have the craving to buy a lot of the remasters. We've talked about it, but like I have Tony Hawk 1 and 2 on Dreamcast and N64, but I also have the remake on PS4, and sometimes I do that. It's very rare. I have the Crash trilogy, the new and the old, but it's not often that I do that. What about you?
I think the game that I have the most versions of is probably Ocarina of Time, just because that game's been released so many freaking times on so many different platforms. But I don't typically tend to do that. Unless it's obviously like a Zelda game, in which I have to, because I'm morally obligated to, because I love Zelda. But yeah, I don't really do that. I don't have an infinite wallet, so gotta pick and choose what I buy.
But what if we did? Life would be so much better.
I know. What if we did? All right, next question is thoughts on variant collecting. I know we talked about that a little bit.
I'm obsessed with variants.
I just have to say, you're obsessed with it.
If a game has a slight change, anything from a different number on the UPC, I need to know about it, and I want it. For the systems that I collect for, of course.
See, I don't get that. Like, somebody posted a picture today of, like, the 4 different versions of Super Mario Sunshine. Like, honestly, I'm happy that I have one copy. I'm not going to actively seek out all 4 different ones. There's the player's choice, the regular one, the
bestseller. Do you care about it for Zelda?
No, not really. I mean, the only game, again, that I have 2 different versions are... Actually, that's not true. I have 2 different versions of Super Mario 64. There's like a player's... I can't remember what it's called. It's like Player Selects or something. It's got like the little seal on it, and then there's a normal one, and then there's 2 different variants of... Actually, there's 3 different variants of Ocarina of Time. I have the like yellow background one, And then there's a gold background one, which I have. And then there's another version, which is the gold cartridge, which I don't have. But I didn't actively seek those out. That was in that bundle that I was talking about earlier at the Goodwill.
There's a yellow and a gold of the gray cartridge?
Yeah. It's not like metallic-y gold. It's just kind of like flat yellow-ish, like goldish kind of.
Wow.
That's the first one that I bought. And then the other ones were just kind of coincidence. But I mean, I wouldn't actively seek them out if I didn't already have them. I didn't even really notice until recently about the Super Mario 64 one. But yeah, I don't care. I really couldn't care less.
Definitely.
Although I think
check out my ocarina after this.
I think the do not resell. Those ones are kind of cool though.
Oh yeah, I love it.
I don't have any of those in the collection, but I think those are pretty neato. All right.
Yep.
Next is games from other regions. Do you collect them or not?
Very rarely. I actually just got a PS2 game. It was like a rhythm game, and I feel like I might have mentioned it on the last, maybe not. But anyways, there's like this Namco game, and it's a rhythm game, and they just brought it to Switch actually in America. But it's drums, so it's like Guitar Hero, but with drums, I guess you could say. That's a really bare bones comparison.
It's Taiko drum or something, right?
Something like that, yeah. But I was just on eBay at like 3 a.m, and this freaking listing was ending for like $4, and it was a PS2 complete in box copy of an exclusive PS2 game, and I was like, yeah, why the heck not? But for the most part, I will only buy the occasional import if it's an exclusive to that region.
Interesting. Yeah, see, I guess technically I have Famicom games and Super Famicom games, so those are obviously from Japan. But I didn't really actively seek those out. It was kind of like an opportunity that I jumped on. Yeah, it was a gift pretty much. Yeah, I don't really care. I mean, if it was Zelda, sure, but I'm not actively trying to seek them out. Oh, actually, this is also Zelda related. Unfortunately, probably people are like, Jesus, just shut up about Zelda. But it's a French-Canadian version of A Link to the Past.
Oh, yeah.
I have that one, but again, I didn't actively seek it out. It was an opportunity that I jumped on.
There is, speaking of imports, there's those Tingle games on DS. I think those are cool.
See, if it was Zelda related, that's really the only thing that I would. Or maybe, Ys would be another one, or I guess Mario, but not really. I don't really care that much about other regions, because other regions don't really have that many different things than we do. I don't know. I don't really care about it, honestly.
Yeah, I have enough games to worry about in my own region.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, what constitutes a complete collection? I think we've talked about this a little bit before, but you're the only one that really cares.
It's like the hardest thing. Like, some people will tell you there's the biggest argument comes with NES. I don't even know how many games are in the NES collection. It's like 760 something, and then some people will tell you it's like 780 something. Like, there's a really strong debate, and people are like, no, licensed games don't count. Licensed games do count, and it's no matter who you ask, you're always going to disagree with somebody, and so like no one can constitute a complete collection, but there is always a number that the most people will go with, and at the end of the day, it's just what you want to count as a complete collection, because Nintendo never released a list of, hey, here's every GameCube game that ever came out. So like, my number is 558 that I got from a friend and that I've gone through, and I also agree with it, but it's not like it's not the definitive collection.
Interesting. So you wouldn't say that you need, I don't know if there are any, but exclusive GameCube games from other regions to complete your collection? I mean, if we're being honest, like if you want a complete collection of every single GameCube game that came out, you need those ones. But if you're just talking about like North American ones, then I guess it's much less.
Right, and you have to specify that. There's a ton of games that were only released in Japan or whatever, but I am going for the North American complete GameCube set. So no,
Gotcha.
I don't include European or Japanese releases.
So you define what you want to do.
Exactly. And it's
Good
always
point.
Everyone should do the same.
Very nice, very nice. Okay, next one is thoughts on resellers. People are just trying to sell and buy games for profit.
I used to call resellers scumbags back when I started collecting, but I think we're all resellers except maybe you, Hannah. I don't think you've ever sold a game.
Nope, I never have.
But you know, if you're at Goodwill and you find a game, like your options are like to have a big heart and leave it there for the next collector because you already have it, which is just not realistic. Or you can buy a duplicate of the game and then resell it and use that money to fund your collection. And I mean, that's what a reseller is. If you're out there buying, I don't know, if all you do is resell and you don't collect games, then that's a whole different category. I'm not really interested in those people, but if you're in the hobby, I get it.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same opinion, except for I'm that person that will leave it if I already have it.
Are you really? That's
yeah,
amazing.
like I don't really need to spend any more money on it. I've done that so many times with games like Mario Kart or like Super Mario 64. Like I have enough. I don't need any more. I don't want any more, and I know I'm not going to sell it. So I'm like, I'll just leave it. And I'm sure 95% of the time someone comes in and resells it on eBay or whatever, but it's like I'm not going to worry about it. It's not my deal. But yeah, if you're going to all the Goodwills and you're just buying all these games and you don't intend to enjoy them, I think that's a little crappy. It's a little scummy. You just resell them for like way more than they should be. Or if you're one of those people that, I mean, I guess it's kind of a common problem now, is buying PS5s and Xbox Series X in bulk, and then you're reselling them. That sucks. You're a crappy person. You know?
We can agree on that.
If you do it once, like, fine. Whatever. You need the cash, quick cash. Fine, I get it. Some people are in that position. But if you're buying, like, 20 of them or 30 of them or even hundreds of them, I don't know if that's possible, but you suck. Nobody likes you. You're part of the problem. All right. Next question is game stores. Like, which ones do you visit, and like which ones are your favorite? Like, if someone's coming to Texas, which one should they go to?
The last few months I've been going to Replay Games here in Houston. It's a really small place, but it's just loaded with good stuff. He's got a very good selection. It's one guy owns the place and works there like 6 days a week and maybe 7, I don't know. But he's a really cool guy. His name's Dave. Highly recommend it. But Houston's pretty dry for game stores. The only other option you have is Game Over, which is a chain throughout Texas and one location in Washington. And they're fine. I mean, they hold a game convention here that I love to go to, and that's about it. I'm not a big fan of their stores just because I never really find anything there. But those are your options for Texas, for Houston.
See, Florida, we don't really have many. We have, like, just that one random local that really is passionate about games and will make a store, but they usually don't last long. Like, ever.
That's a shame.
Like, the 3 that I've gone to, even remotely close to my area, have all gone out of business. And the one that was up here, where I live now, that one also went out of business. So, yeah, that sucks. But if you ever come across one, at least stop in and be like, we're supporting what you're doing. But there are ones that charge way too much. Like, they care way. They don't. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I do, yeah.
They take a game like Ocarina of Time and they charge like $60 for it. Like, it might be worth that now, but like,
I get what you mean.
Ridiculous prices.
But with the death of GameStop impending, it's who knows? We might see retro game stores more pop up or something.
I hope so. At least the ones that were here open back up. All right. Now, I think I know your opinion on this one, but what's your thoughts on like repurposing retro tech into like furniture and other things? Like, have you seen that where they make like the light gun into a lamp?
Yeah, I have. I think it's cool.
You think it's cool? Huh?
Like, I'm not one of those people that's like, oh my gosh, that light gun could have been used on Duck Hunt. How dare you? Like, that's absurd. But I don't know. I think people are super creative. I think it's cool. You freaking took a 10-yard fight and turned it into a Bird Dog Gaming thing. How freaking awesome is that?
I did do that.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. Very cool. I wish
Yeah,
I
like
was
it too.
creative enough to have a whole Etsy store full of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's super neat. The only time it really bothers me is if it's like something that's rare or like a Zelda game. I'm like, oh man, that hurts a little bit, but it's cool. It's cool to look at, but at the same time, it's like, ouch, that kind of hurts just a smidgen. Like for me personally, when I see people make custom amiibo of an amiibo that's like really expensive or like that I really, really want and it like looks awful, I'm like, oh man, you ruined it. You absolutely ruined it.
I have discs that I can't like get rid of because I'm a freak, but like they're beyond scratched, like worse than scratched, and they will not ever play again. And it's like, well, like what could I repurpose this for? So I've got a small amount of those that might be able to find something to do with one day.
Yeah, you should do something with them. That sounds nice.
I could donate them to GameStop, and they could use it as their the way to get you to spend $3 on that plan every time you
Oh
buy a
god.
game.
By breaking it.
Right.
Oh yeah. Man, you can use them as coasters.
Yeah, that's an option.
Drink
And
coasters.
the middle of my cup will always have a wet spot on the desk.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so the last thing. Well, I guess we have some more questions. Should we do collection goals, like collecting goals? I think we talked about it enough, don't you think?
Future plans for your collection.
Yeah.
Well, talk to me. I mean, what are your plans, Hannah? Because I know that I'm trying to buy a bunch of cardboard, but like, what are you doing? You just want Switch games?
I'm not trying to buy a whole bunch of cardboard, although I am interested in it. It's so expensive. But honestly, I'm just kind of enjoying what I'm doing. Buying things for the Switch when I want them, when I want to play them, when they go on sale. And then buying the occasional retro thing that I find. But I don't really have any goals. I guess the only goal that I already mentioned was collecting all the amiibo, but I'm not in any hurry to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. What about you?
Definitely want to complete the GameCube set. I mean, yeah, I've talked about mine. I just wanted to hear about yours. I just want to collect every game ever made. You know.
Nope, I'm not that way. Maybe if I had a bajillion dollars, then heck yeah. But I don't, unfortunately. All right, and then I guess last thing we have here is I asked the question, like, as a collector, what questions do you get asked all the time about your collection? And people answered, and I will read some of them here. So Danny MV104 says, do you tend to collect everything or just games from franchises or consoles you like? For me, obviously, I'm going to buy anything Zelda. I've already said that bajillion times. I'm not looking forward to buying everything from everywhere. I mostly just like to focus on games that I like or consoles that I like. But yeah, what about you?
I know I said I want to collect every game ever made, but I'm also not out here buying every Bratz game and every freaking Barbie game that's ever been made. I'm not picking up Madden every time I see it on eBay. Like, it's not what I'm doing. But yeah, after this 2 hours of talking, I think you guys know what I tend to collect, and it's definitely not just franchises or consoles I like. I'll even collect games for consoles I don't have. I mean, I've got Sega CD games, and I don't have the Sega CD yet. I want to get TurboGrafx games, but I don't have the console yet.
All right, I'm not there yet. I've never collected for anything that I don't actually already have. All right, next question comes from Peaches_art and stuff. It says, what's the rarest game you own? I think you answered this about 20 times today, but I think the rarest game that I own... I think the rarest thing that I own is probably Ribbit King. I mean, would you agree?
I mean, I haven't seen your collection,
for the GameCube?
But when I looked up Ribbit King like a couple months ago, I was surprised at how few there were on eBay, so yeah.
So if you're going by the definition, like Christian does, is how many are there on eBay? Guess that would be my rarest thing.
What other measure of rarity is there in the world?
I don't know, like going by how many there were released. Like I could say my super rare games are rare. There's only a few limited edition, but you know what I'm saying? But they're also a hot commodity right now, so they're like sold on eBay all the time because of resellers. But they still only have like 3,000, 4,000 copies, so is that rare? I don't know.
I'm going to say Ribbit King has less copies still in existence than any game Super Rare has produced.
Do you think it has less than 3,000 copies?
I'm gonna hit you with a maybe.
Okay, very nice. You'd like to say your rarest game?
Oh, the Dexter's Laboratory
Yep,
and
okay, next.
Powerpuff Girls.
Okay, next. This is funny. My aunt actually says, "Can I touch it?" Which brings up an interesting question. Are you particular about, like, who can touch your collection and, like, what parts they can touch?
How particular about... Oh, no. I mean, I don't have, like, baby cousins coming over or anything, but, no, I don't have a problem with people coming over and touching my games.
That's funny. I kind of feel the same way you do, except for when I first started, like, my aunt and uncle came with their kids, so I, like, covered up all my collection and, like, hid it so they couldn't find it. But mostly people don't when they come in. They just kind of, they're really shocked. And they're like, oh my gosh. It's like an overload, like a visual overload. But usually they don't try to touch things. Some people do, but I think it's mostly okay. Unless they're going towards, like, something really expensive or rare or, like, in pristine condition. I'm like, no touchy. So I guess I can be. It just depends. Okay, next one is from Game_Gem99. It says, when am I going to play all these?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So, as most collectors do, they have more games than time, so they're never going to finish all of their games. But it's a nice sentiment when you think you're going to. Follow-up to that is, how many games in your collection have you actually played or beaten?
That's like the most
You could just give me a
question.
percentage.
Less than half. If I have 1,500 games, I've definitely not played through 750 of them, but... I've also played a lot of games throughout the last 25 years of life. So, rough estimate, rough guess here, I'm going to say 400. Maybe 5.
Dang. I think that's probably less than that. I try to at least play most of the games that I have, but beaten is a much smaller percentage. I'm played's probably around 50%. Beaten's probably around, like, 10, if I'm being honest. Maybe 20.
Yeah.
Which is pretty sad. But okay, next is from Stevie Majors Gaming, and it says, "Are you gonna sell this stuff when you have kids?" ? Answer: these are my kids. No. Certainly not going to sell them.
What the heck?
Not gonna just because I have
Majors.
kids. Move on. Not just gonna move on. Next
I plan on collecting for a very long time.
Yes, I agree. Next is 3D Splendid. 3DS Splendid. I don't know. Why do you have so many different 3DS models? So, my follow-up question to that, or something that's related, is when are you satisfied with, like, how many handhelds you have?
When I have them all.
So, right. So for me, when I first started, I just bought everything. Even if it was a duplicate, I was like, oh my gosh, it's like $3. I gotta have it. But now I realize that's dumb. I should probably sell some of those. So I have like 3 of those, like, hot pink 3D, or those DSIs. I don't know why. I don't even like the color pink, but I was like, I need to have it. So yeah.
I'm not a big hardware collector. Like, I'm not out there seeking every N64 color, but if I see it for a good deal, there's no way I'm passing it up. Oh my gosh, the 3DSs in particular are so nice. I wish I had some of the cool ones, but they're just not that high on the priority list for me. I would love some of the Zelda ones, the Mario ones. They're so cool.
I agree. I so almost bought a Zelda 3DS because they're so beautiful. I mean, they're so nice. But I have the NES 3DS that I actually got from Texas. It was, I can't remember if it was Game Exchange or if it was Game Over. It might have been Game Exchange. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Yeah, they're not in Houston, but they always have great prices, I've heard.
Yeah, it was either $150 to buy that cool NES one in box with everything intact, or $150 to buy the regular black one. And I was like, well, that's a stupid option. Why wouldn't you make that one more expensive? So I went with that one.
Very cool.
Okay, next is... Oh, man. Vosh.
Wait a minute.
What?
3DS Splendid asked why you have so many 3DS models. 3DS Splendid asked, how many does they have? Are they? Is it not 3DS Splendid? Is it 3D Splendid?
See,
They
I don't know.
actually
That's
like
what
the
I
3DS.
said. No, it's got to be 3DS Splendid. So obviously they must have a lot, right?
Oh, they better comment on this video.
Okay. You can say the next one.
Volshempa, what's the point? You bought a game you probably won't ever play. Oh, I see. So these are questions that they get asked. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so okay. So I just roasted 3DS Splendid, but they were asking a question that they get asked, right?
Right.
Okay, I retract my previous roast, and yes. So, Voshempa, what's the point? You bought a game you probably won't ever play? Just get an emulator? Ooh, hate all of those questions. Nobody ever asks me what's the point. I'm sure my parents wonder it, but they don't ever say it out loud. You bought a game you probably won't ever play? Yeah, that's my life in a nutshell. Just get an emulator. How do you feel about emulators, Hannah?
Well, I would say that I don't like them because I don't ever use them, but I mean, aren't the NES Mini and the SNES Mini, aren't those emulations?
Yeah, I guess they are.
Those are like official emulators, so I'm never gonna
licensed.
Yeah, I'm never gonna go out there and like actually emulate games, you know? Like I modded my Wii and I was like, oh, this is so awesome. This is going to be so cool. I'm going to do all these things. And I played it once and I was like, nah.
Dude, same. I don't know what the heck. That's so weird. But like I did
and it's
the same
it's
thing.
a long process too.
Yeah,
it takes a long time. And I was like, meh.
Yeah, I think one time I've ever turned it on. It's like, man, I was just like so happy. I was like, this is a great idea. Wasted money on the SD card. Wasted my time.
Yep. Same here. And then I bought the PS1 Classic with the intention of doing the same thing, and nope, still in the box.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, I mean it's like totally different when it's officially licensed. I don't know why, but like I would totally play an NES Mini, but like I have no interest in taking a RetroPie and putting NES games on it.
Yeah, same. I don't know. I think the only game that I've ever played, like, unofficially on emulation is Pokemon Crystal. And that was before I started collecting. My friend was like, it's the best Pokemon game, you have to play it. And I was like, all right, but I'm not spending $50 on it. So she gave me, like, the code and blah, 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 blah on a flash drive. And I played it that way, and it was fine. But I don't know, it's just, I felt dirty afterwards.
I remember playing Pokemon on my Android. That was a very common thing to do when I was in high school. You would put the emulator on your Android phone, and that was back before I saw the light of Apple iPhone.
No, I did it on my iPhone, too, because I remember doing that as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but if you upgraded your phone or, like, transferred it over, like, your save wouldn't transfer, so it was, like, not worth it. But yeah, no, I remember doing that, too. Huh, I totally forgot about that. You just unlocked a memory I had. Okay, and last but not least, Rycon says, is this a healthy hobby? To that I say, it's better than doing crack.
Amen.
Yeah.
Is this a healthy hobby? No, Rycon. Stay away.
Yeah.
Keep your money.
Yeah, I agree. Just kidding. No, I wouldn't have wanted to live my life any other way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, we love it. We're 15 episodes into this. Holy crap, Hannah. We're 15 episodes in. This is the 15th episode extravaganza.
Woohoo!
Oh my gosh.
Should have done some, like, fireworks or some, like, explosions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, that's all awesome. I got.
Well, yeah, so we're going to have to do something about this 15th episode extravaganza. I
don't
know what.
Make a cool graphic.
That's what we're going to do. That's all we're going to do.
Yeah. No. We'll think about it.
Where can the people find you, Hannah? They want to ask you these questions for the next episode. Where can they find you?
Game Girl Advance SP on Instagram, and possibly Twitter in the future. We'll see.
Yeah, dude, you know, I was thinking about it. You would love it. All right, I'm at Bird Dog Gaming everywhere, and yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for 15 great episodes.
Yes.
Can't wait to see you guys for another 15 and then some.
All right.
Yeah, see ya.
See ya.